Card King, here I come. Hello, sports fans, music collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I'm your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490am.com, your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line is former NFL wide receiver, running back, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Panthers, and the New York Jets. I welcome to the program Dwight Stone. Dwight, Brian C., thanks so much for your time this morning.
BC, how you doing, buddy? Hey, thanks for having me on this morning. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's an honor. It's an honor, Dwight. Let's begin very early. Your upbringing. You're a native of the Yellow Hammer State, nickname given to Alabama. And it's a state known for football, especially college football. Give us a sense of how your attraction to the sport developed, began, etc.
It's pretty much in the area where I grew up in South Alabama, which is like, football town, football country down there. You got Auburn, you got Alabama. It's either one or the other. And just by watching Bear Bryant, which by saying that, I'm a Bama fan. And watching them, and I always wanted to play something that you can enjoy, and you see everybody, and it's very diverse. And it was just something that I knew I wanted to do growing up, but I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Now, who were some of your early sports idols growing up, Dwight?
Ken Stabler, of course, he's from Alabama right there. I loved him. That was one of the guys that I always looked up to, and also I like a guy named Walter Payton. I used to read his books on how he trained, how he took care of himself, and how humble he was when he spoke to people or how he carried himself.
Now, Dwight, your primary goal as a teenager, did you have dreams, aspirations on making it to the NFL?
No, my plan was to graduate out of high school and go into the military. That's something that I've always wanted to do. That's something that I position my life to go in as a Marine, because back when I was growing up, you see, about the military, giving back to your country. That's something that I just knew was a team, not a team sport, but a team gathering, and something that I want to give back to the country. But that tend to not go the way I wanted to, but it was nice wanting to go that direction.
Now, I'm going to fast forward a little bit to 1985 when you became a Blue Raider of Middle Tennessee College.
Yes.
Question is, what made you choose that school?
You're going to laugh. Okay, after I went to a military school before that, because they had telephones in their room. It's the honest God truth. That was one of the main reasons. Because in the military school, I went to Marion Military Institute. They only had one phone, two phones on each floor. And I had 2 floors. I was in golf company, and it was like maybe 50 to 75 guys on one floor. So if you didn't get to the phone in time, you just didn't talk to nobody. And you had select time that you could be on the phone at the military school, which I enjoyed. But once I saw that at Middle Tennessee, I was like, oh, man, I love this. And I didn't realize I can call for free. I didn't have to worry about, we'll call local for free, and I can call around the campus. Yes.
So now playing for Middle Tennessee, how well do you think college ball prepared you for the NFL?
I think it did a great job. One thing, like I said, I'm going back to Marion. Marion pretty much, is oriented where, they had you positioned to understand schooling part, the military part, and football. And the coach there, Coach Bubba Hooker, knew Coach Donnelly at Middle Tennessee also, which they always believe in telling you you're here. First thing is education, then we'll do the sports, Sometimes the coach, tend to push sports a little harder. But throughout that, they prepared me mentally because they always played games on you. Coach Donnelly did and Coach Hooker did. And it prepared me when I got to the NFL. And this will sound weird. Playing the NFL was easier than playing in college at my school.
Really?
Because when we went to training camp and the things we did, I thought it was like a joke. Not a joke, but I thought like, man, this is not working hard compared to what I'm used to. But it prepared me for life after college.
I mean, you really achieved notoriety, Dwight, in college. You earned first team All Ohio Valley Conference, and you played with other legends on that team like Vince Hall, Gerald Anderson, yourself, Marvin Collier, Mickey Corwin. The Blue Raider offense was really explosive. How was the camaraderie amongst you guys on that team?
And one thing is, when they say team, they really mean that. Coach Noll, they tell you from get-go, there's no one bigger than the team. And he made sure of that, and he will humble you if he felt as though it was getting out of hand. At no time did I felt, that it was getting out of hand. Like I said, me and Gerald Anderson was pretty much the main backs at the time I was there. And I didn't care if I started. He didn't care if he started. When one came out, the other one supported the other one. There was never, I can honestly say, there was never any selfishness at middle when I was going. Maybe in there, but I didn't notice it. And that's one thing that I'm proud to say. I'm a Middle Tennessee graduate.
Okay, now we're going to go to 1987, Dwight. You were not drafted, but acquired as a free agent by Pittsburgh. Do you recall how you reacted when you knew you were going to the Steelers?
Yes. And the story, I'm going to give you a quick story. The weirdest thing is that a scout from the Bengals actually turned me to a scout with the Steelers. Yes, he was coming down. That's our fullback. Tony Burse was the main guy. He was the guy that helped the running backs such as myself, Gerald, and Vince to look good, Tony Burse. And people was looking at him, and they happened to notice me. They said, who's the guy, number 10, is behind him. He said, well, that's his roommate. He said, well, what is he planning on doing after college? And that was before the draft was in April, and this was in March. And they pretty much talked to me, actually having an interest in going into football. I said I was really going to the military, and they asked me to do a couple of drills, and they were somewhat impressed, I guess. And they said, have you ever thought about playing professional football? I said, no. I was going to go to the military and get commissioned as second lieutenant. And they put me out there, and from there put it this way, you hear fairy tale stories, and I'm going to give you another quick story. After the draft was over, they said I was a free agent. They said, hey, you wasn't drafted. You can choose pretty much any team as long as they want you. So I visited Pittsburgh. I visited Kansas City. I visited the Bengals. I got tired of visiting people. And I prayed, and I said, God, give me the direction in which I should go. So I was standing in Murfreesboro, Tennessee at the time. So after I visited Pittsburgh, check this out. This is how God works. I came back, and me and my friend was riding around in Murfreesboro, probably on E, when he had no gas money. And then we stopped over a place that people were selling pictures on the side of the road and flowers and rugs and all that. So we stopped. We was looking at some things for our apartment. And lo and behold, when I walked over there was a picture of Pittsburgh Steelers, and it had Three River Stadium, and it had the Hilton and all that. That's how I chose Pittsburgh.
Wow. So, I mean, you were very impressive. You were the only undrafted free agent to make the opening day roster with Pittsburgh.
I had them food, then I'm pretty good, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, you also had outstanding special teams. You were an outstanding special teams gunner and a kick returner for 8 years with the Steelers. And I read something that your timing was at 4.20 in the 40-yard dash.
I said, I paid people to put that out there now. It was, and honestly, I really never knew how important the 40 was, or the bench press 225. I never knew the significance of that in NFL or any sport. And they, asked me to do a couple of things, and they seemed somewhat impressed. And I'm looking at them like, okay, I hope that I'm doing good. Because they kept shaking their heads. I run, they'll shake their head and look at me. I'm like, man, I must be bad, And I guess they're shaking their head, I guess, for something I was doing good.
Yeah, we spoke about the legendary coach Chuck Noll once said that you were the fastest he ever saw running the 40-yard dash. And, Chuck Noll, 22 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. How is your relationship with Coach Noll?
Okay, now he said you got me into another story.
Go
I
ahead.
love that.
We have time.
Guy. I love that guy so much. I never thought you could love a coach as much as I love him. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when I got there, we was doing drills, and I did pretty good on the drills. And he pulled me aside. He said, "I see you came here ready, and you're taking it very serious." I said, "Yes, sir." I say, "The Steelers give me an opportunity to do something. I don't want to disappoint you when I come out here." So we were running the 40, and afterwards he told me, he said, "Dwight, I want you to come out here early so me and you," listen now, this is Coach Noll. This is the guy who spent, should have been Coach of the Year for 20 years, and he should have, Super Bowl. He asked me to come out early. Me and him now, this is Coach Noll, out there catching kicks together. I'm like, what? I'm not, this is the honest truth. And then after practice, he'll wait with me after practice, and we'll do it together. And he'll show me different tricks that he could do with the football and all that. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm a free agent. They just slapped a number on my helmet, and I have Coach Noll have all these other draft picks, who they have drafted and guys. He's spending quality time, like 30 minutes to an hour each day working with me. And I love that man. And the Rooney's family. I got a story about Mr. Rooney, too, down the road. Okay.
Please, tell us about Mr. Rooney.
Okay. The final cut, the father, Mr. R. Rooney, we were sitting in the locker room. Everybody was in the final cut. Everybody who finally moved back to Pittsburgh from Latrobe. And everybody's sitting at their locker, on pins and needles. They're walking in, they're telling people to come here. I'm like, oh, man, getting ready to go home. So I'm sitting in my locker in Three River Stadium. I see Mr. Rooney, the one with the cigar, walking in. Okay. I got my head like, okay, I hope he'll make eye contact with me. He started walking toward me. So I'm looking like, there's nobody else over here but me. So I'm thinking like, okay, how do I look busy? He walks over. He said, "Hello, young man." I said, "Hey, Mr. Rooney, how you doing?" He said, "You're the fast one I keep hearing about." I said, "I can be the fast one. I can be the slow one, sir. Whatever you want me to be today." He said, "Congratulations on making the team." I'm like, wait a minute. I haven't talked to Coach Noll. I haven't spoken to a scout. I had Mr. Rooney come to me and tell me this. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Maybe he's mistaken me for somebody else, and I'm just waiting for the ball boy to come tell me, hey, what's his name? Need to see you in there, Coach Noll. So I walk in there. Coach Noll said, we want to congratulate you on making the team. And I'm saying the first person that ever told me that was Mr. Rooney. And I tell you, from that time on, you better believe I did nothing but try to respect the Steeler organization, the Rooney family, the Noll family. It was a blessing to be a part of that.
We're talking with former NFL legendary Steelers, Dwight Stone. Amazing career, Dwight. You had so many memorable games. One game that stands out in which you performed exceptionally well was 1988. I don't know if you recall this. 1988, your 92-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in that close game against the Oilers in which your team won because of that run. Do you remember that, 1988?
People remind me of that, and it just may sound weird, and y'all might think I'm crazy, but like stats and footballs and all that I grew up, I couldn't tell you none of my stats, anything like that. I don't even, if you came to my house, you'd never know I played football. There's nothing in here displayed on that. It's just that God had blessed me to use me as a platform to pass his word on. And I just want to tell people that you put your mind to anything, and you trust in God, things work out. Maybe not the way you want to, maybe not as fast as you want to, but yes. But the people who tell me about stats, and I look it up, I'm like, oh, I did that, and it's just weird because my girls didn't know I played football for a while, because I don't, talk about it unless you want to talk about it. But for as my life, I've talked more about, being blessed as a police officer and also, being a man of God. I'm not perfect now. Believe me, I'm not perfect.
Well, I am a stat guy, and I just want to throw out one more stat of yours, which is worth noting. 1992, your touchdown receptions, 89 and 90 yarders, were ranked 2 of 4 of the longest receptions in the history of the Steelers franchise. So that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, now I remember. Now one thing I do remember. I remember stepping out of bounds in Denver. It wasn't funny, but Coach Noll kept telling me. He said, "Dwight," he said, "why are you looking over your shoulder? Because when you look over your shoulder one way, you tend to sway the other way." He said, "No one's going to catch you." He said, "So I don't know why you continue to do that." I said, "Well, Coach, it's just one of those things." But yeah, that's one of the stats that I guess I'm happy to be a part of anything that do with the Steelers. That's a positive. But yes, good to know that.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you had lightning speed, and I wanted to ask you, and you managed to get open quite a bit on the field. What was the key to that?
One thing I do is 24. Well, not 24/7, but my 14 years in the Steeler organization, well, the NFL, I work out year round. I don't take time off. I may take a couple of days off or a couple of weeks off, and I work out. Even to the day, I work out 6 times a week. Right before I called you, I just finished working out, so I want to make sure I wasn't late, talking to you. But yeah, I think your body is your temple in which God has given to you. If you take care of it, you'd be amazed at what it can do. I missed one game in 14 in all my football career. I missed one game, and that's one thing that disappointed me. I feel as though I let down the Steelers by not playing that one game. And to this day, that's the only one regret I have is missing that one game because they paid me to do something, and I didn't live up to what I promised them I was going to do. And that's one thing that I feel bad that I didn't accomplish. But there you go.
Well, I have a quick sound bite I want to air. This is 1991, your 65-yard touchdown run. Let's hear it now.
Third down throw, a nice one it is. Here's Dwight Stone running in the open field. A great open field block by Lewis Lips. And Dwight Stone will go the distance. And finally, the Steelers hit the big play. No markers down. And Bubby Brister connects with Stone on a 65-yard scoring play. Dang. Nothing happens. Something big then happens.
Yeah. Simple little slant. And Dwight Stone, who was the fastest Pittsburgh Steeler, is only the right guy to have the ball in his hands.
That was 1991, and you heard it, the fastest Pittsburgh Steeler. And I believe that was Chuck Noll's final game as a head coach.
Yes, and I don't remember too much, but I love Coach Noll enough. And they said that I guess that was the last touchdown of his career. And I said, and some people that I had good friends with, I guess they followed me in Pittsburgh. They did follow me, and I gave them the football, not knowing it. That was Coach Noll's last time ever, playing, ever coaching, and that was a football in which, the last time it was scored was that football I gave him, So.
You gave him a nice little gift there, Dwight.
Yeah, I did. I mean, one thing about me, like I say, I'm not a material guy. I'm blessed with what I have. I mean, if you knew the way I grew up and the way I was raised to a single mom with 7 kids, anything that I get, I try to share. I think that I could never have too much. I always believe in sharing. People say I give away too much, but the blessings in which I received over my course of my life is just, it's remarkable. I sit back at night. I don't mean it's at night when everything is settled down, my kids are settled down, and the wife is down. And I sit back and I reflect back on where I came from and the blessings that I have. It's amazing to be where I'm at, to where I came from, and so many people along the way have guided me in the right direction.
And you just read my mind, Dwight, because my next question was this. Being a professional athlete is such an honor to achieve. Curious, in your moments alone, do you take time to reflect on your 14-year career and how blessed you were to get to play in the NFL? That was my next question to you.
Wow, how about that one?
Yeah, you read my mind.
Yeah, I reflect back more about the people I met and the door that was open for me, along the way, and people that I hope that I encourage, and people who have guided me. Because there's times that I stumble in life and wasn't going the right direction, but someone was able to push me back, and I hope that I can share that with other people. And it's just one of those things that I look back and I just thank God for so many things. And one of the things is being able, to share His word, and also reflect back on the friends that I've made. I talk to Eric Green still to today, Ernie Mill, Yancey Thigpen, Kenny Davidson, Aaron Jones. I talk to a lot of guys, Leroy Thompson, Barry Foster. I talk to a lot of guys because I made friendship off the field, and that we talk about our families and the direction we're going now with our lives.
And quickly, I want to get a question on the Panthers. You played for the very first Panthers team in '95, and also in '96, that the Panthers team, the team that won the division and advanced to the NFC Championship. Were you surprised how fast that group came together?
When we got there, it was pretty much a lot of veterans from other teams that I guess contract was too big, or that they have like second screen and they're just trying to relieve some people. But when we got there, all the older guys, we knew then we have been down that road before, with the publicity and all that. I was not shocked one bit, because Sam Mills, who a guy who hit me one time, that I told him that when I finally met him that I wasn't happy about that. But yeah, when we had guys like Sam Mills and Kevin Green and guys like that in the locker room, I knew it would be something special. But I didn't know it was going to be that special, but I knew it would be something special. And like I said, Mr. Richardson always said, or he came to me and said, that I would like our franchise to be like the Pittsburgh Steelers, like the Rooney family. I said, well, I'm praying that we get that way too. But yeah, he looked up to the Rooneys, and that's one thing that he always said, that he wanted to be like the Steelers.
Man, and for like an average guy like me, I mean, how does it feel to play in an NFC Championship game? I mean, is your adrenaline running high? What is your emotion? What is the feeling?
Yeah, This is the thing. It's like Christmas every day. It's like you have Christmas. You getting paid for something that you enjoy. You get paid to stay in shape. You get paid, and I sit there and I look now at the how things are. It's amazing how guys don't. I guess whenever you don't, when you don't, I guess I don't want to offend any players, but if you don't appreciate what you have until you lose it, now it's too late. I think a lot of guys, well, not a lot of guys, there are some guys now in the NFL that it's in a negative way, for it's on the field and off the field, things they're doing. But it's amazing. The playoff games or any game in the NFL, you get paid as you hearing like 70, 80,000 people rooting for you, some yelling at you, but it was fun. It was fun, and I enjoyed every bit of it.
Wow, and then the 1999 and 2000, you played for the New York Jets. How was it playing for the New York Jets?
Oh man, you're talking about going from Pittsburgh, where then going down to the Panthers, then go back to New York. Oh man, I love Fireman Ed. Yeah, Jets, Jets. I used to go to bed, and my kids, my daughter who was just born, loved that little saying. That I'll tell you one thing about the Jets. The Jets on the New York. They let you know what they think. You never have to worry about wondering what they're thinking. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. They will tell you, but they love their football. That's one thing. They have like a 1-15 record or a 0-16 record. They're going to support their fans. And I mean support their team, I should say. And one thing I enjoyed in New York, that's something that I think it was just transferred over when I was there. I think Mr. Hess was just selling the team to Mr. Johnson, who's now the owner. So, but yeah, the transition and everything, and just being a part of that. They just have a nice organization. It's a shame that they keep starting over. they have a lot of talent that they have on their team, but they just letting it get away from them. If they can get somebody, with a good foundation, they'll be back where they need to be at. Where Joe Willie was there.
Well, and they're telling me I have 1 minute left. Final question, Dwight. So what have you been up to? What has the legendary Dwight Stone been up to these days?
After I retired from football in January 2000, I became a police officer in October of that same year. I just retired a few years back after spending 14 years as a Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officer here. And that's one thing I love my brothers and sisters in blue, and I always will support them. That black move don't matter. I know people talking about the police officer. I will never, ever turn my back on an officer, and I wish people could walk in their shoes and see what they go through, and also see what their family go through. People see things a lot different with trying to judge someone. They're only trying to do their job, make it safer, and I wish people appreciate it more for medic and firemen also.
Well, thank you so much for your service. And, it was really fun. I really appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate it, BC. Anytime you need me, buddy, please don't hesitate.
Oh, let's do it again. Definitely.
Okay, I appreciate it. Y'all have a blessed weekend.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was legendary Pittsburgh Steeler Dwight Stone. Dwight Stone, 87 to 1994, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers 8 seasons. 1995 through 1998, Dwight Stone played for the Panthers 4 seasons. 1999 to 2000, Dwight Stone played for the New York Jets. Honored to have him, one of the fastest NFL running backs to play the game. Until next week, happy collecting to all.